Let's learn the different types of dialog boxes that JavaScript has to work with. Let's go ahead and create a brand new project in Visual Studio. We'll say File, New Project, and we want an ASP.NET web application, and we'll call it Boxes Are Us, and click OK. And this will create our brand new web project because we also want to say that it's empty. Click OK. The project is created, but remember, since it's empty, it doesn't even have an HTML page in it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to your project within the Solution Explorer, and you want to right mouse click on that project, and you're going to add a new HTML file. And remember, you could either do add a new item, or you could do just add an HTML. So let's go ahead and close that window down. And we need to see our Solution Explorer. Yours is probably up and running already. And I'm going to resize it a little bit, and I'll right mouse click and choose Add. And I'll choose an HTML page. And I'm going to call mine index, since that's usually the starting page name, and it makes our index.html file. And now we actually want to work with some JavaScript. So how could we do that? Well, down in the body section, we're going to go ahead and type a script tag. And within that script tag, let's first do an alert box. And we'll just say alert, welcome to the program, semicolon. Now the whole purpose of the alert box is usually to give like messages to the user, maybe like a warning message, but it's just simply a box that pops up that has one button that says OK. So if I went ahead and ran this program right now, it's going to go and build our project. And once again, remember that our script tag had an opening script tag and it had a closing script tag, and then it had the JavaScript in the middle of that, alert, and it had our semicolon at the end of the statement. And so when it runs the program, here's our alert box. It says welcome to the program. Go ahead and click OK, and here's the rest of the web page, which does absolutely nothing, but it is a mighty fine alert box. So the alert box is one way you have a box that you can pop up. Another box that you have is a confirmation box. And what it does is it displays a box, and it usually has two buttons. And we'll see what those buttons are in just a minute. But the important thing is that if you click on the OK button, which is one of your buttons, it's going to return a true value. If you click on the cancel button, it's going to return a false value. So let's go ahead and create a variable, and we'll just say that's going to be a B return value, and we want to go ahead and do our confirm box, and you display the message. We'll say, do you want to continue, question mark, semicolon. And this will actually go and display a box. Do you want to continue, with two buttons, an OK button and cancel button. If you click on OK, it returns a true. Cancel, it returns a false. So I could do something like if B return value double equal true, remember double equals comparison, then let's go ahead and do a document.write you want to play, else document.write you do not want to play. And let's run this one more time, and let's see what happens. So it should display our first alert box. There's the welcome to the program. Here's our confirm box. Do you want to continue? OK and cancel. Let's click OK, and it says you want to play. Let's run it one more time. I just did a refresh. Welcome to the program. Do you want to continue? Cancel. You do not want to play. So that's what a confirm box can do for you, is you can actually use it to check the value of an OK, like a yes, no type prompt. The last box that we have is a prompt box, and it actually allows you to display a value, and then you can have a default value, and then there's a box where the user can type something in. The value that gets returned from that is going to be a string, and so you'll have to convert it later. So we'll just say var, and let's just say s return value equals prompt how many games, question mark. And then let's just keep it like that for right now and see what happens. And we're going to go ahead and document.write s return value semicolon. And I'm going to go ahead and comment out these other boxes since we've already seen what they do. That's a multi-line comment in JavaScript. Let's run it one more time. And how many games? I could type in 5, click OK, it displays 5. Run it one more time. Let's don't type anything in and click cancel, and it returns null. That's a little awkward, isn't it? So you're going to have to go and do some checking to see if there's a number that's actually in there or something that they returned back, like maybe if they click the OK button or not. The other thing we could do right here is we could give it a prompt of a value. Now I'm just going to type the number 5 and see what happens there. I go to run this, and it's going to display our how many games, and it puts the 5 right there. So that's a default value, and I could have changed it to be anything else and clicked OK. So that prompt allows you to have two different parameters. One parameter is the question, and then the second parameter is what value do you want it to show up in that box. And once again, if they click cancel, it's null. So maybe you want to do something like this, where you say if s return value equals null, and instead of equals null, let's do a not equals null. Then let's go ahead and put our document.write inside of that, and then we could say else document.write see you next year semicolon. Let's go run it one more time and see what happens. If I click OK, it says 5. Run it one more time. I should have just done a refresh, saved a little bit of time. Click cancel, and it says see you next year. So that's how the prompt works. Now be aware that prompt actually returns that value back as a string value. So if you want it to be anything else other than a string, then you have to actually convert it. So how would you convert that? Let's say var I games. We'll declare the variable var I games, and we'll say as long as it's not a null, let's go ahead and say iGames is equal to parse int, and whatever we want to convert, which will be s return value, and then let's do two document writes. Document.write, and we'll say iGames plus 10. And let's just see if, well, actually let's do this. Instead of iGames plus 10, let's show that it really does make it an int. Right here, we'll say iGames equals iGames plus 10. Now remember, I could have also done this. I could have just said iGames plus equals 10. That's the same thing as this line. Make sure we spell the things correctly. And let's go ahead and run this one more time and see what happens. Go ahead and leave 5 in there, click OK, and it prints 5, and then it prints 15. Now if we didn't want those to print on the same line, I could go ahead and do a document.write and concatenate in a BER tag, and that would actually drop it to the next line. Because if you did a write line, all it does is it adds a space and you don't really see it. It doesn't make much sense. So that's a way that you can actually drop something down to the next line too. So the parse int allows you to convert to an integer. We could have also done this, dgames, and we could have said dgames is equal to parse float s return value, and that would turn it into a floating point, or one that has decimals with it. So you could use parse float and parse int to do some conversions. And that's how you use 3 different boxes in JavaScript. An alert box, which simply displays a message, confirm box with an OK and cancel button, and it returns true if they click OK, and false if they click cancel, and the prompt, which allows you to go and prompt for data, give a default value, but remember you don't have to. You could have just said how many games with 1 parameter, and then it comes back as a string, and if you wanted anything other than a string, then you have to convert it. Parse int converts to int, parse float converts to a floating point.